Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Sunday Speaks. I, as always, am Cheyenne Severin, and today I'm here with
Nancy Labov.
our founder and CEO. So obviously it's December and we're getting pretty close to Christmas, but we're also in the midst of like a couple of other just general holidays, which is very cool, but also very stressful sometimes. So I know that keeping yourself whole in general is very important to you, Nancy, but during such a turbulent and exciting time, that becomes like an especially like important thing to hold on to. So just
Right.
as like a general question, how do you practice wholeness during the holidays and what does that mean to you?
Oh, okay. First of all, don't you love the word holiday? Think about it. Holiday is a holy day. If you break it down, and being whole, it's like it has to start with me. It
Hmm.
has to start with my wholeness. How am I whole? You
Hmm.
know, and what's also beautiful is that this holiday is basically it's shared universally, in different ways, but it all signifies this same special time of year.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what exactly is being whole?
I don't even know if I answered your question there. Yeah, the first one. For me to be whole, I am a person in recovery from drug and alcohol, addictive tendencies,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it. I abstain. I abstain from all substances. So I have learned to find a way to recover my mind, body, and spirit. And my mind, body, and spirit wasn't so whole when I was actively using.
Hmm.
I was escaping. I was escaping in alcohol and substances, mostly pot, marijuana, mostly alcohol, and sometimes cocaine.
Hmm.
And I've tried lots of other things. It was. I've been. That was back in the early '80s, and I started in the late '70s when this all started up for me. And so for me to be of mind, body, and spirit wholeness, I have to take care of it. I have to take care of it in a variety of ways.
Hmm.
Yep.
Mind, body, and spirit. So what are some ways that you practice that wholeness or keep it like intact?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
um, first of all, do you know that the word alcohol, they call it spirits. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? All right. It brings out the spirits. It
Hmm.
brings out the spirit within us or whatever, and it can loosen you up. So that can flow, but at the same time, it can get out of hand. And in this day and age, we got to be real careful because there's so many other substances out there that out in the street, everything's containing fentanyl now. And people don't really stand much of a chance of not overdosing. So there's some nice ways to take care of ourselves during the holidays without necessarily using spirits,
Hmm.
to create spirit within. And it all starts from within. It all starts from within. So first of all, we're coming up on the winter solstice, right? Here in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, sometime soon.
Yeah, it's the 21st.
Oh boy.
The 21st here in the Northern Hemisphere of the planet is the longest night of the year,
Hmm.
shortest of the year, the most darkness. That's
Hmm.
interesting. Isn't that interesting? Because because if that's darkness, if it gets that dark, we're all so afraid. We're such light chasers in this world. We're so caught up in the commercialism and materialism and the joy. Let's have joy this season,
Yeah.
and people get like that. And here in America, for sure, it can be overwhelming, especially if you're not feeling it necessarily inside, you know. And that's why there's such a tendency towards reaching out for spirits besides the one that's within. And so for people like me, somebody in recovery, speaking for myself, I have had to learn how to really, really get in tune to those dark places inside and not try to run from them, you know, but to really take a conscious look and how to revamp them, how to revive myself daily. And that's something that I've had to really learn how to take care of my mind, body, spirit. You know, it's more than just exercise and eating good foods, you know, right foods. And those are all important aspects. There's no doubt. For sure, for somebody like me, I really do try to take care of my body. I try to rest when it asks me to, and you know, and I try to make. The good news is that I have the freedom of choice. I have a lot of choice. I do, you know, and not a slave to alcohol and drugs in any way. And I do have the ability to start my day over at any given time. So I really love the 21st of December because it's the beginning of a spark of light and beginning of new hope. And it's also, again, a universal type of symbolism, you know, here in our world. And so what I do, you want to know what I do?
Yes.
Okay. You know, I came from a Christian upbringing, didn't really feel like I fit in necessarily in general. And I just didn't know if it really, even at a young age, I didn't even know if it all really clicked. I mean, I used to love, I love the sparkly lights. I love the presents, all sorts of things about Christmas, you know, but I came from a family riddled with alcoholism. We did a lot of crazy stuff in my family. They were running around after each other, angry, you know, chaotic, abusive, you know, just nature, you know, there was some violence. It wasn't always pretty, you know, and, so that could be a conflicting message, you know, so I don't know. I guess that might be why I didn't feel that I necessarily fit in, you know, and I didn't really know exactly what God was like. You know, I didn't know what to trust. And so, you know, God has just changed for me. I married a Jewish man. My kids were brought up with both Hanukkah and Christmas, and learned how to embrace a different religion. And then as I've grown spiritually as a woman in recovery, I have learned to even embrace more and more. So there's a lot of spiritual aspects. There's so many threads that come together for me to create a wholeness. And so I have to start my day every day with reprogramming my neural pathways. First and foremost, I'm a nurse. Science makes a lot of sense to me. What about you? Do you feel like science makes sense sometimes?
Science, it's not my strongest subject, but I've always liked biology. Other than that, I haven't gotten like too deep into it, but I like science.
Well, getting to learn about the body's functions, even learning about like photosynthesis and things and cellular, activities and makeups and just all sorts of things about science that really kind of clicked and saying, wow, look at how big and massive and powerful things that we cannot see are.
Mm-hmm.
So the unseen, the unseen is a lot to be said about it, and not necessarily what my senses are saying, my eyes and my ears are always saying, but again, just getting a little deeper in something. So I have to start every day with finding ways to fill myself, to create a wholeness and a centeredness. And I do that in some ways, and I'm going to share it because I'm hoping others will catch on. And there's many that already do practice, of course, but it's available to all of us. And one of the things, and the first and foremost, is the breath. I've learned to check in to my breath. That didn't come easy because it seemed kind of weird to want to check in with my breath, something I always took for granted. But I've learned to start my day with that being the first thing. The breath is like a wave. It's like a wave on the ocean. In fact, I think of the ocean kind of like it's a great big, organ of the world, kind of like its own lungs and breath, of the planet, and I have a lot of respect for it. And it's like, wow, how connected we all are. Think about this. We all breathe the same air. Well, we all take breaths. Everybody on this planet, they're taking a breath, and we can't deny that, and that was kind of like a powerful thought for me, to think that we are really all connected that deeply in that one thing, which is the breath. But the breath is attached to the heart, and the heart is attached to the brain, the mind. But if I'm not tuning into my heart through the breath, I'm not tuning into my brain. I'm not checking in completely with my brain. They have discovered that there are neuroreceptors within the heart, that if they're recognized and they're actually activated consciously by us each day, we can reduce our cortisol levels in so many ways. Our stress levels can just go down, because it's like it helps with the hormonal balances of our body. But anyway, if I check in with my breath and I create a wave of coherence from my heart to my brain with some words. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, think of a word that would bring that seems inspiring to you, something that maybe you'd want to focus on for the day. Good.
Focus on for the day.
Huh.
Oh my God, Nancy, putting me on the spot here.
I know. I told you I was going to do that.
Yeah.
Just throw a word up there that would seem to be like, that's what I want to be today. That's what I want to thrive on today.
Productivity.
Like, what's that? Productivity? Okay. Okay. Purposeful productivity. So okay. I am productive. I am productive, and like that would become the word of which the heart brain coherence could begin to incorporate. It's an intention. It's like setting an intention with an affirmation. So one that I find works for me every day, no matter what, is I am grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So if I take a deep breath in, you can do this too. Come on, Cheyenne. You're going to participate in this because
Okay.
we're not doing mind, body, spirit, coherence stuff right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just put your hands lightly, like somewhere on your chest, on your sternum, like near your heart. Okay. Kind of check in there. Right. And then take a deep breath in through your nose, like for 5 seconds, and hold it at the top. And then exhale for like 8 seconds. Through your mouth. And let's do that 3 times. And I'm going to do it to I am grateful. I am grateful. And then take another deep breath in. I am grateful. Again, longer exhale. And then one more time, inhale. I am grateful. And breathe out and let it go, just like an ocean wave. And then just go back to the normal cadence of your breath. Just smooth, just simple. But we've created this stream of coherence
Mm-hmm.
that does change our neural pathways, so that is something I practice every day. And I practice it. I go a little deeper, So, like I check in. I am aware of what's making me tick. If I meet some resistance with some kind of anger, sadness, despair, let's call it hatred, but I don't go there. I check in way fast before I go to hate, but there's some uncomfortable feelings, right? Something. See, there's either two pathways. It's either love or fear, nothing else. So if I'm into the fear zone with some kind of emotion, what's that about? So as a sober woman and, somebody that tries real hard not to check out, of my insides, I check into what that's about, and I talk about it with others if need be. If it's really something I need to process, for sure, I'll talk to somebody else, but, that's an awareness level, of tuning into what's going on inside, right? Mm-hmm. It just doesn't feel right, get it out before the issue gets in the tissue, get it out. And so I check in and I'm aware of what's making me tick. And, I do an inspirational reading. I always read something inspirational, Cheyenne. There's a lot of good books out there with lots of short quotes in them. Sometimes I do affirmation cards. A lot of people send me things. I send people a lot of things, little readings for the day. Occasionally I send you one, just occasionally, but, I post them on our Facebook sometimes.
Yeah,
And then the last but not least, I always meditate. Okay. Besides the breath thing, I will sit in stillness, because in the stillness, I can tune in. I can go into it. Get it? Mm-hmm. Into it. Yeah. I'm writing backwards probably. But into it by just getting still and going into the stillness. Back to that December 21st. If anybody has a chance, it's a perfect time to start practicing it. And, but service is really important to me, being of service to somebody else and doing a good deed, good thing for somebody else, and, or finding ways to be of service, plugging in somehow for a higher purpose. And, so service to me can be just the act of saying to somebody at the checkout line, how are you? Like that somebody that's doing a service for you, ask them how they're doing, how their day's going, give them a smile, talking on the phone to somebody doing a service for us. Even, if they're from a different country or whatever, they are human. We're breathing the same air. So, back to that, just trying to, be kind, show some grace, which is just energy, in my opinion, good energy. So those are kind of the things I do. Those are my go-tos, so it's breath, prayer, but prayer can be anything. I told you. So I am grateful. Mm-hmm. If I can change my thinking, if I can, if I'm concerned about somebody, that could turn into send them love, send them love, send them love, send them healing grace, send them light, and that's a prayer, that is a prayer. That is putting it out in the universe. Good. I don't want to add any excess agitation. So those are the kind of things. And I always light a candle and I create an altar of sorts so I can alter my perceptions. Mm-hmm. Simple. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I do. How's that?
It's perfect.
Body, mind.
So with that said, we are out of time. So do you want to say any last things before we end off today?
It's so important to just practice tuning into yourself. And it's so important to be kind and of service to others, but put on your own oxygen mask on first before administering to others. Mm-hmm. And happy holy days. Be whole. Be whole.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Cheyenne. You're doing it. You're doing a great job at this. Yay,
Thank you.
Cheyenne! Woo! All right.
I'll talk to you later.
I, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.